What up, YouTube? I'm probably gonna make two vids out of this stuff because LeBron James had a crazy week. Outside of the game, this is more about him doing his like little, I want to say press run, but his little press day on the Pat McAfee Show. Him and Stephen A are beefing. I'll make another vid that's like one of the vids I want to talk about. But in this one, I want to talk about one of his quotes, which was Giannis averaging like 250 points in the 70s if you put Giannis in the 70s, which in one hand, like I get it, but on the other hand, I'm just like, bro, this is such a tired conversation. Like for me, because like it's so hard to like talk about different eras, bro, because it's like the basketball was different back then, different rules, like different ways obviously to train, people's bodies were different. So like it's so hard to judge. It's easy to like say, damn, these people were playing against plumbers and da 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 da. And also, I think it's like the generational thing in the NBA where like on one hand you have like the old heads shitting on the new guys, and then as a result of that becomes a vicious cycle where the new guys decide to shit on the old heads and talk about how whack their era is, and it's just like it's a never ending cycle. And I feel like both sides become disingenuous and you can't really have a proper conversation, and it's kind of hard to it's kind of hard to have a proper conversation because eras are so different. Like say like the early 2000s, like I didn't watch basketball like back then. I was aware of it sort of, but it was like the latter end of it. Like, and even then I was closer to like late 2000s to like early 2010s, and basketball back then was like different. I'm like the pace was different, the more dudes, it was more within. Obviously you guys know how this iteration of media and older dudes and older people in the media are like, oh, it's just a 3-point shooting contest in this era of the NBA because obviously there's more space. Threes are worth more. Coaches are more open, different schemes. The game has evolved. Stuff like players have developed skills to shoot the three ball more. Not to say there wasn't any back in the day. Shout out to Reggie Miller. Shout out to Drazen Petrovic, RIP. There's like and there's a litany of others that I'm like missing from like the 90s and early 2000s, like snipers back in the day. But whatchamacallit, it's just like in the early 2000s there was like no space. They played inside out instead of outside in compared to what it is today. Um and there was more middies, there was more role players shooting middies. Like I know a lot of people love the aesthetics of like dancing with the basketball, shooting a midi. I know some of that creativity is lost in this NBA, but like some dudes, hey man, like maybe it's my bias because I like this generation, but I'm not trying to like as a Nuggets fan, I'm not trying to see AG like middies per se, but I can understand if you grew up on that stuff, like how you can gravitate to you wanting players to shoot middies and like not everything has to be like layups or threes. But I will say though, in this like modern NBA, like there are people that take middies. Like it's just been relegated to like the star players per se. Those who can will take them, and then the other stuff, like when like role player middies have been like exited out for the most part from offenses today. And what else was I gonna say? Like the training was different, people's bodies were different, like modern medicine has evolved, players have like put insane amounts of money into their bodies. Like LeBron, I remember way back when there was like a poster or story or a block dedicated to it on ESPN where it's like he dedicates like a meal, maybe multiple meals to his body so he could stay in shape, so he could keep going at his advanced age. And like realistically speaking, if you gave Giannis his skills today, then back then yeah, because like I think back then the pace was even faster in the 70s than it is even now, which is saying something. And then if you popped in this like specific Giannis, but you have to take into account even Giannis talked about this quote because he said it's a little disingenuous because if you can't just like automatically plop him into the 70s with the current skills that he has now, because the players back then didn't have the opportunity to learn the skills that Giannis did. And no offense, like the players back then were put in a box by the coaches and by the way the game was played back then. So Giannis would probably have to adhere to those same like basketball principles, the way the game was played back then, and he'll probably end up putting up similar numbers to those players in the 70s. He'll probably put better numbers because he is an all-time great, and I feel like all-time greats specifically for me are timeless no matter the era, because they'll probably adapt their game to that era and then they'll be successful. But that's just me. He even said himself like he would probably end up averaging the X amount of points, like maybe like a Wilt Chamberlain or something like that. And that'll be the end of that. Because I don't think he'll average like 250. That's a little unbelievable. But I get what Braun is trying to say. Because, like I said before, the generational gap is hilarious. And, hey, man, on one hand, I might be a little, this might be an ageist tech, but like sometimes old people like to crap on the young generation and be like, give the tag, back in my day, we were better. And back in my day, we were better. And then like the new generation will be like, man, screw the old generation. They don't respect us. Their game of basketball is whack. They couldn't shoot threes. They didn't have the skill, yada, yada, yada. And it turns into a vicious cycle and you never get real basketball conversation. And that's basically for me, man. Comment down below your thoughts on this. Honestly, it's hard to compare eras, honestly. Like, for example, like Jalen Green is such a polarizing player, but you wouldn't think he like shoots true shooting percentage wise. I know old heads or basketball purists are gonna cringe at that word. Shoots the same percentage as like Kobe Bryant, but you wouldn't think that Jalen Green is efficient or just as efficient as Kobe Bryant, because you have to think about things relative to era. And that's why I hate when like I hate when players like compare other players from past generations, because like efficiency wise, I'm not gonna lie, bro, it's kind of easier to score in this era than it was compared to previous eras. But that's just me. Comment down below your thoughts on this. How do you feel about how to compare eras? How do you feel about LeBron's quote? Do you agree with it? Disagree with it? Let me know if that goes down below. Like and follow is always appreciated. Be on the lookout for more content. And as always, subscribe to the channel. Follow my TikTok at Denny Nuggets as well. And as always, guys, have a good one. Peace.